Hello. Hello again. My name is Ibrahim from Sufra Cologne. As you all know, Sufra Cologne is a self-organized group from LGBTIQ refugees. Sufra Cologne is a self-organized group based in Germany in Cologne. Our first aim is to empower the LGBTIQ refugees community and also to ensure their mental well-being. Today we'll have an interesting talk. Recently, from last month, we created a new format of live shows. Like each time we invite an expert, we have a chance to discuss about different topics. And this time we're gonna discuss about BDSM because generally these topics of sexuality and gender are still taboos in our communities. And for today's shows, we will have our special guest from Lebanon, Sharbil RC. I will just wait till he is online so I can send him an invitation. Sharbil will share with us his personal experience with BDSM. What does BDSM mean? What are the main factors to have mutual consent between two partners in sexual relationships? What are the kinky stuff? At the same time, we're gonna refer to the community shaming. Just let me check what's happening with. Hi to everybody. Just. Hello, Sharbil. Are you online? Yes. Wait. Let me see. I will try to add Sharbil here. It's really so hot in here. Did you receive an invitation, Sharbil? Yes, great.
Hey,
Hello, welcome to Sufra Cologne platform.
I'm very happy to be here. How are you?
I'm doing fine. The pleasure is ours, really. First of all, before we start everything, just let me check on you. Are you okay? Everything going on well now? Want to speak a little?
Yes, yes, actually, I'm fine. I was supposed to be live with you from my home, but sadly, I'm at my parents' home now because I got some broken glass. But I'm safe, and I'm gonna say that it's time, I think, now to finish some bit of freedom and talk about freedom. So,
Yeah.
but yes, it's a big problem now in Beirut. So I hope that everything will be fine and be back to normal as soon as possible.
Sure, thank you. I hope also well the situation gets well soon. Before you join the live, I already gave a small introduction about our work from Sufra Cologne, that we are self-organized group, and our mission to empower LGBT refugees and also to bring such topic to visibility because such topic are rare to discuss. So before we start everything, why Sharbil RC?
Okay, why RC? Well, actually, RC was a random name I got from. It came from my blog, Raging Closet. Raging Closet starts since my first day. I started discovering this lifestyle. I remember that I was very scared. I had a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of ideas. I wanted someone to share with. I had no one from my friends was available and was ready to discuss with him my fears and discuss with him my fetishes. So my only way was to write down what I'm thinking of. So just in a random way, I wanted to share my feelings. And I remember I took a piece of paper and started to write everything that come on my mind. I write it down. And later I decided to share these ideas with people, and I had to come up with a name for a blog, and the name was Raging Closet. And from there, Raging Closet RC came from. So that's my nickname is known on the Kink. But my real name for the people who knows me, my name is
Shelby, I guess we have a little small feedback. People are asking if we can move a little bit backward from the mic because it's so close, maybe.
Sure.
Yes.
It's better now?
Yeah, I guess so. Yes. Yes. So it's a big topic for people who are really new in the community and new to sexuality. It's so complicated. Even when I start sharing this post, a lot of people told me, Ibrahim, what is BDSM? What does it mean? What does it stand for? So how can we start such complicated topic?
Yes. Actually, BDSM is people actually have a lot of misconception about the BDSM. People look as if we are weird people, we share weird stuff. But actually, especially nowadays, it become more close to people. You know, especially when the famous movie 50 Shades of Grey was more available for people to watch it. So people started to think of alternative way to discover sexuality and alternative way to discover special attacks. But BDSM is not a new concept. It's a very old concept. You know. Let's talk a bit terminology. What BDSM stands for. We have first of all the B and the D that stands for bondage and discipline. We have the D and the S that stands for domination and submission. And the M comes from sadism and masochism. So that's where BDSM comes from. So it's a concept that that have all these I can say sexual style or sexualities in it. So,
What I can hear, like, it implies more positions of power and submission.
Definitely. The main aspect of BDSM is power exchange. So the main thing is when someone who we're gonna call him submissive or a slave, give up his power willingly and willingly to someone else. This someone else, we call him a master or a dominant. So it's a power exchange. So it's when someone gives up his power, his will, his choice, his decision to someone else. And I need to here underline, and it's very important that this power is given willingly and without any under pressure or anything.
Fear or threats.
It's another way of expression of freedom. So people are free to give up this power to someone else. This power, I need to say something, that this power can be given up under one-time play, just a session, I'm going to have fun with it, or it's going to be under what we call a lifestyle. Okay? A lifestyle, like it's, it can be under a contract or verbal or anything. Like someone give up his decisions, to someone else. Okay? That's in general what BDSM is all about.
So,
but definitely this style has a lot of rules with it. So it's not like that.
I was just it was an important point that you reflected. This part is have to be exchange of roles. For example, when two partners are in a sexual relation practicing this BDSM, like maybe this time I am master, next time you are submissive. So is it a must that the roles must be exchanged, or for a healthy sexual relationship, or it's a mutual understanding for basic needs?
Okay, actually, to be in a BDSM, there should be some kind of power exchange. We should always have a master or a master and a sub and a dom. like vanilla sex, we have a top and a bottom. It's the same. It's someone who's active and someone who's making decisions and someone else taking the decisions. You know. So it's always like this. But for example, but people can switch. People can. For example, in the session, you're the dom, I'm the top. In the middle of the session, we can switch. But definitely, we should agree on this before. We should discuss this before. We should be very. For example, me personally, I cannot switch in one session. I cannot switch in one session. Like it has to be another session and another rule.
Okay.
But some other people can switch, so it's not a rule. It's different from a person.
And when we speak about dominance, mostly people will relate dominance for being top. Can a bottom be dominant?
Yes, definitely. Okay, that's somehow some kind of stereotypes we have. Like the top is always the dominant. Like the movie in the in parallel in the straight world, the master is always a man and the submissive is a female. It can be totally the opposite. The submissive can be a top, as the submissive in the straight people with the straight people. The submissive can be a man and the dominant can be a woman. So it can be mixed up. So, for example, I'll give you some kind of, for example, if you are a top and you are a submissive, it's very easy. Like you can go on in your role as a top and being tied up, for example. So it's done.
If you want to speak now a little bit about safety procedures in such sexual intercourse, is there some safety plans? Is there something they agree on before?
Okay. First of all, the most important thing before we get into the session is communication. Communication is key. Okay. I want to say something that dominants are not magicians. They don't read our mind. They don't read the submissive mind. So before we get into a session, we should agree on something. We should discuss. Discuss what we need, what we want to experience, what are our limits. We have something known as soft limits or hard limits. Limits are things that we don't wanna experience. And one thing, we cannot take limits as granted. For example, some people say it's very obvious my limit is blood, but we cannot say it's obvious. We should be very clear about our limits. What are the fetishes that we don't want to experience? Because my limit might be people as fetishes, so we should be very clear about what we want. What are our limits? Soft limits, right? And also what we want to experiment. For example. What are my needs? Okay, that's very important. The first step to discuss the limits. Second, people should be careful with who they are playing. For example, we should meet people. We should meet people before we, for example, in a social place, in a public place. Before we go into a private session, we should agree on safe words. Safe words are very important. We should not play with safe words. Safe words, firstly, are known are like the traffic lights. The red means stop. I got enough, and I need to stop, or there's some kind of emergency. We have the yellow, that means that I'm close to the edge, or I need some kind of break. Or some people use green, that means that I'm okay, you can go on, you can proceed. And the safe word must be used not only for the physical safety, but also for the mental safety as well. So if we feel anxious, we're not feeling okay, so it's very recommended to discuss safe words. And one thing we should also talk about is aftercare. Aftercare is how we're gonna be after the session, what are the procedures and what I like.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, we can talk more in details in aftercare later on during our speech. But it's so important to understand with who we are playing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important.
So I totally agree to start such a relationship where you are willingly want to give away your freedom, your power, your body. At least you need to have a trust relationship to a person. So and this you cannot make it with a stranger.
Yes, trust is main issue. Actually, I'm gonna quote someone that is a friend of mine who's very active
Mm-hmm.
in this community, and he is very. I may call him an influencer. His name is Afasel Scott. Once said in an interview, and I'm gonna quote him. He said, "Trust comes before obedience, and submission is earned."
Mm-hmm.
So, trust is the main key in such kind of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, me as a sub, before I obey someone, I should trust him.
Sure.
It's a matter of trust. Like, imagine with me, like imagine with me that you are being trained and being tied up with someone you don't trust and you don't know what might come next.
Mm-hmm.
So trust is the key. Actually, trust is the key.
Mm-hmm.
And submission doesn't come because he has the alpha figure and he has the masculine figure and he's gonna impose his rule on me. No, he has to make me feel comfortable. So I can't give up for him my submission winning.
When I hear everything, when we are talking about it, how all this communication about trust, about I guess it's so loud. Yes. So this communication about trust, boundaries, limits, all these things make me feel like, okay, I feel safe. Even if you are in a position to be submissive, it makes you feel safe. So yes,
you should be safe. Okay, fear factor exists. Okay, some people fantasize about fear, and fear factor is very important, and it's something that we fantasize about. Like me as a sub, when I'm in a BDSM setup, fear turns me on. Okay, I look up for fear, but this fear must have conscious that I know that I'm being safe. So fear exists, but in a parallel, trust should exist, and I should know that I'm safe.
So we spoke about fear, we spoke about safety, and all these things. We want to speak about pleasure, and especially about pleasure in pain. How can I find pleasure in pain?
Okay. First of all, I want to be clear that BDSM is not only about pain. Okay, it's not only about pain, but pain is like it's the most familiar aspect of BDSM. Pain actually is not as scary as people think of it. It is. It's a build up. It's a build up. And actually, your body, like biologically speaking, your body is made up to enjoy pain. Okay. So when you are receiving pain, let's say impact play. By impact play, I mean everything related to whipping and flogging and this kind of fetishes. For example, when you are in pain, you have like a rush of endorphin and adrenaline in your body. And that gives you pleasure when you are horny and when you are enjoying. That gives you pleasure.
I can see a lot of people enjoying this pain now by this heart.
Yes, actually, it's a different kind of pleasure. You know, it's a different kind. And some people enjoy this as its own as a pleasure different than its full pleasure. You know.
Okay.
It's a stress relief and it's a stress relief and it helps kick out all the negativity out of our system and all these hormones in your body are
released.
I release. Like I'm gonna make an example. For example, when you go to the gym, you know that you're gonna, when you lift weight, you know that your body is gonna be in pain, but there's some kind of pleasure when you are there, and that doesn't happen intense all the way. Like warm up is very important when we talk, and when we talk especially about impact play. Warm up is very important. We should start slow. We should start slow, so the submissive like can connect with his body and with his mind with pain. So it's like sports. Like you don't go and you lift 50 kilos right away. Like you should start slow. So it's a bit.
I want now to add another thing. For example, for people who have false understanding, maybe people who are not experts, as I can notice now, I guess I'm hearing echo. Maybe you have to make the voice loud. Okay.
Okay. Better? I guess it's from...
I guess it's better, yes. So I told you some people could have false understanding about BDSM and they are not that expert. But after our talk now, it's such a process. A person has to learn how to go through it. How can we add this for people, or how people can they self-learn? How can they learn? How should I practice it, or how they discover their needs? Okay, till which level I'm enjoying, what kind of pain I enjoy, or how I want this pain, maybe by shocking, maybe by slapping, maybe by spanking, how I can discover which pain pleases me.
Okay. First of all, when we make our first step in it, we should read a lot. We should. Sadly, in counties like our county, like I live in Lebanon, we don't sex education is very limited on how to do safe sex or how to bring kids to the world, and that's it. BDSM is like another perspective in sex. It's another world. So, first of all, we should learn. We should learn a lot. And we should always do like baby stuff. We should always do baby stuff. And every kind of kink, we should know that. We should play under two rules that I personally always follow when I want to play. First one is we call SSC, which is safe, sane, and consensual. We should know when you step in a session, it should be safe, sane. We should think of it with our common sense, and consensual. And every kind of kink has risk, has some kind of risk, and submissives and dominants should be aware of these risks. So people should be aware of these risks. Newbies, the must-have for newbies is to read a lot. In my case, I have to read a lot, and I need to start baby steps. Always baby steps, and with communication with my play partner. Like every time we play, I should communicate what I like, what I dislike, what I'm scared of, and always I should have some kind of limit update. We should always change our limits, update our limits. For example, when I started BDSM, I had few kinds of limits. But once I tried when I experienced more, my list of fetishes my list of limits also has increased. So the more you learn, the more you get to be curious about more fetishes. And then you are more aware of dangers that this brings to it. So the most important thing is to be aware from the risk. We should always be aware of risk.
So as you said, it's a personal learning process. So people, since it's not like educational things, people have to educate themselves by learning, by communicating.
In countries like Lebanon, and in countries like Lebanon, yes, it's a self-learning process. But in countries like Germany or like any country in Europe, for example, in the US, there's a lot of communities. There's a workshop that there's a lot of communities. But let me, I need to make some shout out. Here in Lebanon, happily, we have a very small community that is mixed between straight people and LGBT people and everyone. They are started to build up some kind of awareness for like-minded people. We are it's a very small group, but it's very important that we have such of a group here.
Mm-hmm.
So being with like-minded people is very important. Following people on social media, we have a lot of activists within this community on social media. It's nice to see what they are doing and to learn from them. And if there's some kind of workshop in the country where you live, it's nice to attend this kind of workshop. And it's a way to have like social communication with people, with like-minded people.
Well, why I'm laughing because we're speaking now, and someone from Grindr, username called Kinky, just wrote me, "Hey, I have some time tonight," so I can practice.
That's a sign, mate.
Yes. So I guess we spoke a lot now about BDSM, and so if you want to have another, if you want to speak now in other little bit direction more toward fetish, what are the different kind of fetish? How fetish are included with BDSM practices, and how fetishes are developed?
Okay. First of all, what is a fetish? Fetish is when we get turned on by an object or by anything that is not related to our sexual organ. For example, to leather, to smell, to feeling, to feet.
Yeah.
These are fetishes. And some people experience fetishes. They can experience them without a power exchange, and outside BDSM play. It can be with the bottom or even dominant and submissive. And then I go a bit about some kind of fetishes.
Let's start.
Before I start talking about them, I need to make sure that people don't shame fetishes. For example, everyone in this world has some kind of fetish. For instance, it might be weird, but I assure you that there's someone in this world that share your fetish, even if it's the weirdest fetish for you. So when we discuss fetish, the most important thing is that we don't shame each other fetishes. My fetish might be your limit, and your limit might be my fetish. So if I start here about a fetish that is not your fetish, it's better not to shame. Yeah, and what is this and what is that? It's not to say like it's not my fetish, but let's go on. It's very important. It's very normal that we don't share all our fetishes. But the most important is that we don't shame for each other.
They don't have to tolerate to it, but at least accept that this is my fetish.
Yeah, it's simply not your fetish. It's my fetish, and that's it. Let us go a bit about some most popular fetishes. We have first of all feet fetish. Feet fetish is very popular,
yes.
especially in the Arab countries.
How come?
I don't know how culture played a role here with feet fetish. So it's very familiar, and like even vanilla people who don't practice BDSM, we have a high.
What do you mean by vanilla people? I'm not understanding the term.
Okay, vanilla people here. Vanilla people is when we call straight people, but that you doesn't know that we call them straight people. You know.
Okay.
Like for kinky people, like people who don't practice
vanilla.
BDSM. I'm vanilla.
Okay.
Vanilla.
Like white and clean.
Yeah, people who don't get engaged in BDSM. So even vanilla people experience a lot of feet fetish, and we have a lot of vanilla people who are into feet fetish. Some people get turned on by the shape, or by the feeling, or maybe by the smell. Feet fetish is very popular. We have people who got turned on by smell. Maybe armpit smell, shoe smell, leather smell. Yeah, that's it.
It turns me
So
on.
leather smell. Yes. Yeah, it's super hot actually. Uh, and one of the most popular fetishes, sadly, it's not popular in
Which
Lebanon,
one?
uh, which is bondage, rope bondage.
Bondage. Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's my top one fetish actually. It's my very top one fetish. I'm very much into rope. And I subspace very fast in rope. Subspace is what is subspace? Subspace is when the submissive go in this state of mind that drives him towards the session.
Mm-hmm.
So bondage is rope bondage is one kind of restraint.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are into cuffs, some people are into chain as well. So these are all restraints.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are into pain. Impact play is when we hit someone is one kind of pain play. For example, we have flogging, whipping, caning, spanking. Spanking is very popular actually. And we have other kinds of pain play. For example, when I twist someone's neck or I pull his balls or what. These are all kinds of pain play. Everything that involves pain. We have temperature play. People are so much into temperature play is when you drop, for example, wax and ice on someone, but like you has sensation between hot and cold and warm. We have also pet play. Pet play is very popular. We have puppies
Pup space.
as well.
I would like to know
Puppy,
more
puppy.
about pup space and puppies. I'm interested.
Puppies. We should make puppies are just like
Cute.
another world. They are super cute. I'm a puppy asthma.
Okay.
I'm a puppy asthma. But, I experienced a lot of puppy play. Puppy play is very fun actually. I need to shout out for the all puppies who are watching us now.
Yes. Thank you. Hello, puppies.
Big shout out for all the
Yeah.
puppies who are watching us.
Mm.
Actually, it's very fun to be around puppies. Puppies are like the funniest thing ever in our BDSM community. It's not bestiality. To be sure, it's not bestiality. We don't get turned on animals. We don't have sex with animals. It's a role play. It's a role play when we, us as a human, turned on into a pet hat space. For example, puppy space. So that's pet play. If you want, we can do a full episode about pet play. We can talk hours about pet play.
Okay.
And we can move on a bit about some extreme fetishes like blood play.
Oh,
There's a lot of people
okay.
who are and needles. And some people are into anal play. When we talk about butt plugs, we talk about fist fucking and such kind of play. We have fire play as well, and we have a lot of like. The more you the more you dive within the fetishes, the more you experience more fetishes. Like it's an endless word. It's an endless.
I guess it's important point. How do you get access to such communities where I can get to know other people who like to practice BDSM? Is there special apps, special groups, special locations, special places, special international events?
Yeah. Actually, I need to say something that within the BDSM community, we have a very main community with the subculture in the LGBT community, which is the leather community. And this, the subculture that it's getting a bit old, but now we have a lot of new generations who are willing to, who are discovering leather community.
Yes. Sorry for interrupting. Sorry. If I want to reflect now to the experience here in Germany, I can notice the older the community is, the more fetishes are developed into leather and more BDSM. So
yes, the leather community is a bit older generation, but the new generation now especially when we have a lot of applications. Like I'm gonna talk about
Yes,
applications
please.
now, application and community. And the new generation is opening an eye about leather community, but the leather community is changing a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The leather community is changing a bit. When the leather community started, it started by Tom of Finland. By Tom of Finland, who has this famous piece of art of Leatherman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it gives the shape of how the masculine man should look like.
Mm-hmm.
But now the LGBT community is starting to change. Like we are more fluid within the gender. So it's changing a bit.
Maybe
Yes,
maybe
sir.
if you can hear, we have someone. He said if you can write the app name in the comment.
I'm gonna talk about the
Okay,
app.
great.
We have lots of apps. For example, we have Recon.
Mm-hmm.
Recon is an application for the BDSM and other community. It's just for men.
Recon.
It's for gay men.
With K
Recon.
or C?
It's just for
Mm-hmm.
RECON.
RECON. EON. Okay.
Yeah.
Recon.
Yeah. I sent to how it's
Mm-hmm.
written. So yeah, RECON.
Okay, corrected here.
It's a gay app for the leather community, and here I need to shout out for Recon.
Mm-hmm.
Recon, they are doing a huge work, especially for the people of color and the minorities, and they are doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out for Recon. We have also FetLife. FetLife is a website. They don't have an application yet. FetLife is more open for all sexualities. It's open for straight people and gay people. And FetLife is more like Facebook, but for kinky people. FetLife is more serious,
Mm-hmm.
if you know, more serious about the community. And basically, these are the two main applications and websites where people can find like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
The BDSM community and the leather community is very well active on Twitter. We have a lot since Twitter now Twitter allows nudity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, how come?
So Twitter allows nudity now. So the BDSM community and the fetish community and the leather community, they are all a lot active on Twitter. So it's very easy to find like-minded people on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram, we have a lot of amazing people who are active on Instagram, who are opening the eyes on this community, who are sharing a lot of really nice stories, and they are really making a difference in this community. And if someone follows me on my Instagram, I always shout out of these people, so it's very easy to find them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in Europe, there is a lot of events as well. There is a lot of events. The most famous event is Folsom Berlin. Sadly, this year is cancelled because of coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of clubs in Germany, and I know personally in Germany and in Amsterdam we have Eagle. And in Berlin we have, I don't know how we pronounce it, it's Qualgest.
Qualistic. Ich habe das gelesen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very nice place actually. It was my first place or dungeon I've been in. It's a very nice place. It's a nice community as well. And we have Sin Berlin. Sin Berlin is a community for that's it. So Sin Berlin is a very nice place for rope bondage people as well. So it's a nice place. We have pretty nice place in Europe actually. Sadly in Lebanon we don't have free place. Only our room.
If I wanna go now, we now discuss like about how freedom here in Germany, and I can see it openly. Like also here in Cologne, we have like a special day in the month where all a group of leathers all make events together, come in the street. There are also special. Oh, that's so interesting. There's a club here in Cologne, sexy club called Station to Be, and he have like a lot of BDSM fetish sex parties. In some parties, you just before you go inside the club, you decide if you're gonna be the top or the bottom. If you decide to be the bottom, you go first. You get bandage on your eyes, rope, and later on, the tops are allowed to go in, and they can fuck anyone without you seeing. So I guess such culture, sex culture, is so interesting. If you want to comparable now to LGBT movement and sexual culture in our countries like Middle East, why it is a big taboo? Why it's shaming? Why always sexual topics not BDSM is that taboo? And what must be done?
Yes, yes. Actually, we're talking about sex is a great taboo in Lebanon, especially within the gay community. Like I experienced as a gay person inside the community, I feel a lot of misconception about me being BDSM. Even within the gay community, I feel a lot of shaming about BDSM. Like it's very weird. It's for two reasons. Because people don't know what it is. The only popular and the only familiar example that the people have is 50 Shades of Grey, and 50 Shades of Grey has a lot of understanding about BDSM, you know. So the main reason is that people don't know what it is, and the reason plus that being gay in our country is not okay, and talking about sex is not okay. So this makes it a lot more complicated. For example, as gay people, we don't talk openly about sex, and that is dangerous to us. For example, for me as a submissive, for example, it's very dangerous for me to meet, for example, another dominant, because most of them they don't know what they are doing, and they don't have access on information. So it's very dangerous, you know. And we don't blame anyone because we don't have education about this topic, you know. So that's very dangerous.
So a person enjoying his sexual preference is a privilege. Like, is a privilege me? I can experience my sexual preference here, where I cannot express it if I'm in Lebanon. So I will consider living your sexuality as a privilege.
It shouldn't be a privilege. It should be a basic, you know. For example, as I told before, like rope bondage is one of my top. And sadly, in Lebanon, I don't know anyone who's into bondage. You know, like I just wait when I travel to experience bondage. You know, so sometimes it's not easy to experience our sexuality.
I'm just going back through, I wrote here like points that we have to discuss, to bring interest to. I can notice.
I think
yes, please.
Yeah. I think we discussed about everything.
Yes.
There's one point I talk about is like when we discuss, it's so important to discuss before the session everything we need. We don't discuss in the session. We discuss always before the session. Before the session. What you want to experience, what are the limits. And the most important thing is to discuss about the aftercare. Aftercare comes at the end of the session. It's like when both top and bottom or stable or mass are high and feeling all this pleasure, calm down. When they did the calm down, they need to make sure they are coming down safely. Like the crash of the lack of these hormones that we talked about, the crash of them might keep some bad feelings or what we call some kind of subspace, subdrops and dumb drops. So it's very important to discuss how we're going to end our session. Some people like to cuddle, some people like to have a hug, some people like want to stay alone, some people maybe want to eat. And it's very important to evaluate our session, what I have enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, and what are expectations. I need to say something that every point we are talking about, we can talk hours about it, like limits, discussions, aftercare. We can at each point of this we can talk about it, like
sure.
A lot, but I'm trying to cover up everything in a brief way.
I guess also it was really so pleasure for me to have you also to discuss this topic, at least cuddles. Yes.
Anyway. Bob Durham is like one of very close friend, and he's a very cute puppy. I need to shout out for him.
Yeah.
And all the puppies
So
and all the
I'm really so happy that you were with me here in this live. I'm really so interested. We brought a lot to light, a lot of topics. It could be so interesting for upcoming talk shows as well. So if anyone is interested in any specific point or any specific topic, you can just easily write us in the comment or text Sharber or write me on our Facebook.
I need to add like a final.
Yes,
don't be afraid to experiment. Everything comes in your mind. Don't be afraid to experiment. Life is too short for boring stuff, you know. So don't be afraid to experiment and always be safe. Always remember this keyword: safe, sane, and consensual. And never touch someone without his consent. And consensual is very important. Experiment and stay always consensual.
Yes, it's sad it has to come to an end. It was a pleasure to have you, Sharbil. And a pleasure to know you in person, really. And I'm really
the pleasure is mine as well. I'm so happy to be with you. And hopefully the next time we'll make an episode with you in my playroom, so I can show you my toys. I can show you my playroom.
Yes, well. Please. Okay. Do you want to say a final word before we close the chat?
I want to thank everyone in the LGBT community who supported me, especially in Lebanon. And I want to thanks for Cedar Gardens, the BDSM community in Lebanon, who are making a huge effort in Lebanon. I'm going to thank also all the kinksters all around the world, and all my friends who are all around the world who are really supporting me and who are delivering are teaching me a lot. So thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
My last word would be thank you, Sharbil, so much. And I would just want to say, if you are interested, our next topic next week, we're going to host a trans woman, and we're going to speak about the struggle from trans women from prostitution situation, how they have to work in sex work until they arrive to freedom to live their gender identity. So looking forward to see you next week. Have a good night. Ciao. And I need to text my kinky now. Ciao.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, ciao.
Bye.